This is Black Writers Read. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm back. Thank you all for joining me today for episode 15 of season 6 of Black Writers Read. My name is Nicole Young Martin, and I'm the founder, producer, and host of this series. This weekend, it's all about my hometown of Detroit. Yesterday, I chatted with Detroit native Denise Nicholas about her memoir, Finding Home. Today, I speak with an author who recently planted roots in Detroit about his debut novel, which is set in the D. I'm so excited to chat with him about it. So let's get started. Black Writers Read showcases, celebrates, and honors the words, work, and traditions of Black writers from across the country, across genres, across experiences, and across the African diaspora. Black Writers Read is a behind-the-scenes conversation into the craft and what it means to create as a Black author in today's society. Since starting the series on Juneteenth of 2020, we've hosted almost 100 writers. We're getting to the 100th writer soon, representing over 15 genres from 6 countries and 26 states. Our platform includes the live stream interviews, the audio podcast, book clubs, and curriculum integration assistance. Find us online at blackwritersread.com. Today, we welcome Cedric Muhikira. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Cedric is a self-taught writer and storyteller with roots in migration, cultural fusion, and identity. Raised on stories that bridge continents and generations, Cedric has long been fascinated by the in-between spaces of belonging. He immigrated to the United States from Rwanda in 2019 and now lives in Detroit. His debut novel, Libaax, Grow Your Roots Where You Land, draws deeply from his personal experiences and the shared lives of immigrants navigating new beginnings. With themes of identity, resilience, and finding home in a foreign land, Libaax follows Ayan's journey from displacement to self-discovery as he becomes a DJ, mixing Somali Kwame, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, my apologies, with Detroit techno. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this book. It's a story of cultural fusion, personal growth, and the universal experience of belonging. Cedric's work explores how music, memory, and resilience help us grow roots wherever we land. As we're talking today, I will be sharing links to connect with Cedric on his website and also to purchase the book. For those who are new to Black Writers Read, I will bring Cedric on. He'll talk a little bit about the book and then we'll chat. If you have a question, comment, kudos, congratulations for our guest, please feel free to put it in the comment section where you are joining us from today. Also, too, for folks who know me before I bring on today's guest, I have to insert why this book is so important and why I'm so excited to talk about it. Y'all know me as a writer and also as a professor. I love talking about the protagonist's journey. And for someone who is a debut author, Cedric does such an amazing job creating his main character, just so beautifully written. And I'm like, yes, I'm so excited to chat with him about it. So I'd now like to welcome Cedric Muhikira to the virtual stage. What up, though?
What up, though?
Yes! Every time I have a Detroiter on, I have to welcome you with that. And like, I miss hearing it in real time because I live here
Yeah,
in New England. So yeah.
right. Yes, I am catching on to
Yeah.
the to the Detroit language, I'd say.
Yes, you are such a Detroiter, and I love that you moved and have embraced my hometown in your debut book. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's start off. If you could talk a little bit about the book, talk a little bit about Ayan and like why you wrote the book.
Yes, I have a little bit of notes here, then I get
Mhm.
sidetracked.
Yeah.
So, Ayan is a novel to begin with. It's not a story based on a character in real life, so I make a novel so it doesn't fire back at me because I talk about sensitive subjects.
Mhm.
So Ayan is the main character of the book is a Somali immigrant who is navigating life in Detroit, a city today which is on recoming back. So it really meant something to Ayan because he was into the city, which today doesn't really have, many attraction and economics and everything, but we is a resilient city which is coming back, which is making sounds all over the US again. So it really meant something to Ayan. So the word Libaax, this is the cover. Libaax means lion. Lion symbolize an animal that is strong, king of jungle. So Ayan, in a new life, in a new land, so he had to create that character in him, having a heart of a lion, chasing goals and making life out of nothing, I would say. So moving quickly into the three themes of the book. There's more to it. So I went with identity and belonging because Ayan was not from the US, he was from outside. So he had to not let his identity go, but how his identity would merge with the US culture and make something of nuisance out of it, not just float along the wind, I would say. And then music was another element, powerful element along the book, because music is music. It doesn't really require the same language as a conversation, normal conversation would. So music was something to bridge these two cultures instead of colliding. They bridged and it came something really beautiful. He was seeing, everybody knew, just because of the music, not because of what he was as a person. And then the last part I'll talk about the book here is the community and the chosen family. So he's, of course, landed into a place where nobody knows him. So he has to pick people who's gonna work along him on this new journey. So this was another major part of the book. I have three characters. Ahmed, he was one of the guys who came into US before Ahmed, before Ayan. So Ahmed was 13 years older to Ahmed, to Ayan, and he was already in the US. So he knew things all around. And then I talk about Mariah, who was from South America. She comes in the US and now she's navigating her life. She went to law school, so she has ambitions. So, and then Isabella, who is an American, born a US citizen, who changed Ayan's view of himself around the romantic situations because he was romantically interested in Isabel. And all in all, to make this story short, Libaax is not more just a story, a novel. Like I said, it's more like a collective of stories. My stories, my friends' stories, how we live, how we navigate this life. So this is where Libaax is actually rooted from in a small short version.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. And also, too, thank you for pointing out, because this was something else that I thought was so amazing with your book. I know for myself as a writer, people say I'm really good at writing male characters and not good at writing women characters, but you do such a great job of creating a well rounded community of folks. So, the first question that I have for you, which is a little different than the questions that I sent you, because you answered the first two questions so perfectly in your introduction. Why did you choose to write? Like, what inspired you to write this book and to become a writer in general?
Right. I started writing by reading first. I was in isolation as everybody is in COVID, yeah, I was reading stories and it opened my mind, and I was so fascinated about what words can do. And I'll give you an example in real life. Frankenstein, the monster, I'll use him as an example. Mary Shelley, the writer of the book, when she was thinking of him, he was just there with nothing in his mind as a creature. But the moment he picked up books, now words start forming in his mind, visions. Now he knew he wanted companionship. He was all alone. All because he was reading and all these ideas was coming into his mind. So now in my journey, I thought, how can I form ideas into the mind of someone who thinks he's alone, or life is hard, or nobody sees them, they are in total isolation? How does this mind shift as the book can really shift the minds? So that's how I start writing my stories, and every other immigrant that I know, how our stories creates a life that really means something.
Thank you also too for reminding us that some of our best teachers and workshop leaders as authors is reading other books. I'm not going to lie, this is one of the reasons why it takes me so long to write something, because I'm like, we already have such amazing stories out there. I want to make sure that I'm contributing an original voice. And Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I still have to watch, there's a recent film, a new film adaptation that came out, I think by Guillermo del Toro, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did watch it. It's yeah, it's really good.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Because I'm interested in seeing it because I like his work. So I love that that you are an avid reader. So can you talk more about Ayan's journey, and how much did your personal experience shape Ayan's journey in the book?
So Ayan, as a character who's supposed to symbolize someone who starts from the humble beginning and rise to becoming a star in Detroit. And I had to act his life, some of his life, to really feel what it feels to be a DJ. So went out, be a DJ, mingle with Detroit DJs, and it was really a nice feeling. I met a lot of people, and it was really a nice thing. Ayan, he rides a motorcycle, so I have a motorcycle. I don't know if you see a helmet behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ride the motorcycle. It was, part of a relief, where Ayan finds freedom. It was another part of his journey. So he skydived. I went out to skydive to, get such a feeling as Ayan described in the book. So try to give Ayan a life, so that he's not just a novel in the book, even if he's corrective of stories, but the main themes I acted them out to give them a life, and the meaning behind.
Nice. And I love that Ayan, that you wrote Ayan to live with no fear, because me as a Detroiter who lived in Detroit for like 27 years, this is why the city is coming back, is because so many of us, we live with no fear. We are risk takers. We are extremely resilient. And I also love too that you lived out a lot of the moments that you wrote for Ayan, so that you really, because that's the other thing too that I love about your book, the vivid like narration is
Mm.
extremely clear. And so that really, that's also because I have a lot of students that watch this podcast. That's also really good advice, is for you to write very strong characters, live the life that you want to write for your character so that you can embody it. So thank you for that great advice. And speaking of Detroit, and which people don't realize, or I feel like people don't want to acknowledge this. They don't want to acknowledge that Detroit is the home of electronic music. It is documented. And there's a huge, I hope they still do it. The
Mm,
Movement Festival, which is like the electronic music festival at heart. But again, I haven't been back in Detroit since like the 2018.
mm,
But there was a huge electronic music festival over Memorial Day weekend called Movement, and I hope that they still do it. And they set up a bunch of DJs outside. It's so amazing. I've been a couple times,
mm.
and thank you for writing Ion as a DJ because it gives an opportunity for you to talk about how like music is so important and rooted in Detroit. So, Libaax, Grow Your Roots Where You Land takes place in my hometown with music as a key theme. Why was it important to you to set the story in this pivotal music capital?
Right, like you said, movement, which is still happening today,
Nice.
and I have, well, not been to the movement yet. Uh, yeah, about a show ago, since it is something meaningful to you. As you say, techno in Detroit is really big, and I made Ayan, a techno DJ. He was more like a Karami guy. Karami music, it's Somali music. He was blending the both sounds to create a unique sound, which of course would make him known. It would sound different to either the Detroiters there or even anybody else, which would make them ask, who is this guy? What's going on? And made him known, made him seen. And I use music because, like I said earlier, uh, music does not require language. It's a feeling. It's something. It can be an Asian music. It will connect to you. People here love pop music, which is unreal. It means Ayan also can touch hearts of other people. Can he touch his feelings? And that's why I made him a DJ, so he brings people and dance instead of being a speaker, or I don't know, any other thing.
Yeah, and that's actually, I'm not going to lie, like, that's one of the things COVID and the pandemic kind of took away from us. Like during COVID, a lot of the nightclubs where I live ended up closing, and I miss so much just going dancing because I miss like a bunch of us would be talking and men flirting and things like that, and we're like, who are these people? Oh my god! And then all of a sudden the music goes, and then like we are all one, and we go out and dance, and I miss that so much, and like I said, I was so happy to see that music and DJing are so pivotal in this book,
Mm,
especially, I don't know if you've had a chance to experience this yet, but one of the big things I miss about Detroit, there are so many people who are like making mixtapes and like independent producers and all these things. And people literally will be out on the curb, on the corner, selling their mixtapes and all these things. Like music is important,
mm.
so important to Detroit.
Oh yeah, it is. I am more of hip hop, even if in the nature of the book, a DJ. But yeah, I have been to a lot of shows with these Kendrick Lamar and other superstars. Oh yeah, it was really a blast to be in those crowds. It's really amazing what's going on in Detroit.
Yes, thank you for insert. So, for folks who have been following my podcast for a while, y'all know Kendrick Lamar is my absolute favorite like songwriter, and he won a Pulitzer for songwriting. I love any and every opportunity to slide him in, but I have yet to go to one of his concerts. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you had an opportunity to do that.
Mm,
Prior to having our guests on Black Writers Read, we ask each of them why they write. Here's an excerpt of what you beautifully offered. To be an author in this time means to stand strong even when the world is loud and confusing. Many people are afraid to speak the truth. An author is someone who does not want to hide. Like a lion, an author protects stories, culture, and identity. It is important to share my words because stories help people understand each other. My writing reminds people to be brave, to remember where they come from, and to keep going. How does Ayan's journey reflect the real world experiences of immigrants today?
Mm, well, early on in the book, he was looking for a job as any everybody else, and his jobs were not, top tier jobs. He was a dishwasher somewhere, so those were the kind of jobs he was expecting to do. Even his lead, those are the jobs they took him to, And when he was doing, these kind of jobs, he showed, it was not really meaningful to him because he wanted to be something big. And yeah, those are the really, really stories that a lot of immigrants go to. And in the again, early on, he went to a grocery store by himself, to Kroger, and standing between the aisles, and he didn't know which food to pick because it was just full of hundreds brands of cereals, and he was not used to those kind of food. So these are the stories that, as immigrant, go to. The example is language, Detroit slang, and people can say things, and you just be there, not not understanding anything because there's a barrier between you and them. So there is a lot of layers to just being an immigrant. There is more to it, and as a young, he overcome one by one until he becomes a superstar, a DJ in Detroit. So this goes to to show Ayan, even if he has these humble beginnings and he rise all the way to the top, when there are real examples in real life. So those are the relatable stories I was aiming to bring to life.
And I'm curious before, because I have like just two more questions for you. I'm curious, who is your favorite author? Because I can tell just by like the journey that you created for Aeon, you are such an avid reader. Who is your favorite author? And then who are you reading right now? Like what books are you reading right now?
So I am reading James Clear for like a million times. The Atomic Habits. I don't know. It's been usually at the beginning of the year, for the evaluation and everything. But I think my favorite writer is going. I mean, Mary Shelley. Maybe because she was in 1800s, where nobody really was writing all these very, very deep stories. Even this Odysseus story, navigating lost, for almost 3 decades, I think. And the journey of being lost is just as I am. He's just out there at the sea, living life, coming back. So I think those two books are really my go-to books when I think of deep books to read.
Nice. And one other thing I want to insert before we wrap up, for folks who are unfamiliar with the story of Detroit. So one of the things I miss about my hometown is the greater Detroit area. It's extremely diverse. Not
Mm,
only is there a prominent African American community there due to the Great Migration of the South, that's where my family is from. There's a large Arab population. It is I heard the statistic, it's the largest outside of the Middle East in Greater Detroit, Hamtramck, and Dearborn. There's a large Polish community, large, who am I missing? Mexican community. There's a large, there's like several others. There's a large West African population
mm,
in the Detroit area. And like just the and Jamaican population. So just the access that you have to many communities, and also just the food and the music that you have access to. And so I also want to applaud you for writing a book about belonging and different immigrant experiences, because that is truly what makes up Detroit. And that's why, for me, Detroit is extremely special. So I have two more questions for you. What do you hope readers take away from reading Libaax?
So I offering them a get into the lives of immigrant, the emotions, the jobs, the not speaking the language, layers of our lives that nobody really talks about. And on the other side, I'm giving an immigrant a story to hold onto, someone who's in their shoes at the lower stages and who rise all the way to the top. So I'm giving the immigrant the hope as well.
And I also forgot to mention, this is another thing that's very important in the book that you mentioned. Detroiters are hustlers, like no joke. Like everybody in Detroit, and I'm still like this now, where we got like 5 or 6 gigs. We have like our own LLCs and stuff. So like I love that you illustrate what that looks like for the immigrant population, because it is something that is really ingrained in Detroit culture, that hustle, that making sure that you thrive rather than just survive. So the last question I have for you, Cedric, is what is next for you, and how can the Black Writers Read community support you on this journey?
I think the next phase is going to be more focusing on the Africa as a continent, because this book was talking about the immigrants who migrated everywhere into the US
Mhm.
as the biggest empire, greatest, I would say. So now, since we are learning, we're exposed to this great technology and understanding, then how are we helping other continent, especially Africa, the youngest population? How are we going now to transform this continent? So this is going to be my next move, I would say.
Nice. And as someone who recently, and I hope to explore it more, recently dug deep into their DNA, because my family has been here due to the slave trade for multiple generations, I found out I am 90% of the African continent, where most of my ancestry is from Nigeria, like 30 something percent. I'm
Mm.
excited to see what your next venture is going to be, because these are stories that we need to hear, especially us who are Black and who were born stateside. Um, and then also, too, just how amazing you are as a writer. I am very excited to see what you have next, and also to have you back on to talk about your next book.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Nicole. It was a pleasure being on your show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Cedric, for being here, and also too for joining us on which. What is the weather like in Detroit? Because right now here in Connecticut, we got like 7 or 8 inches of snow, and it is like extremely cold.
I mean, it's not really snowing here, but it's been freezing for a few days. Really, really, really freezing.
Oh,
Mm.
yes. So stay warm.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'll take you off. I'll wrap up. And if you could stick around for just a couple of minutes after I wrap up, because I want to touch base with you
Awesome,
um,
awesome.
before ending. Thank you so much. So thank you all for joining me for episode 15 of season 6 of Black Writers Read. I'll be back here on Friday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. to chat with Dr. Jen M. Jackson to celebrate the release of the paperback version of their book, Black Women Taught Us: An Intimate History of Black Feminism. I'm extremely excited to have, like every author, I'm extremely excited to have on. This particular author, I'm excited to have them on because I've followed them for a long time. I listen to their podcast. They have two. I've had this book on my shelf for a long time. And so I'm excited to have them on to talk about their book next week. Support Black Writers Read by subscribing to the YouTube channel where many of you are joining us from today. Also, we have an audio podcast. So the interviews here live here and also on the audio podcast. Also on the audio podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcast. There's also bonus material. So you'll hear like interviews from our live events and also other bonus content. We are also on Patreon under Black Writers Read. So please feel free to support us in these platforms or whatever platform you're joining us from. Please be sure to review. Please leave a review, as it helps the algorithms and it helps others to find us. By supporting us in these various ways, you're helping us to sustain the platform, which is independently produced and self-funded. Visit blackwritersread.com to learn more about the podcast and also my work. So thank you all for joining us today for our conversation with Cedric, and more importantly, for ensuring that Black writers continue to matter. I will see you on Friday.